Hello.
Hi, Guy. It's Pat. I'm going to be hosting your Zoom meeting tonight. So I
Great.
just
Hey,
want to let you know that you are on, and I am bringing in Christian.
great.
And this is currently streaming through YouTube, so I wanted to let you know.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I do have Jeff Whittington. Is it Jeff? I think he's one of the, I think he might be the contractor for the one item you have for the porch repairs.
Yes.
Do you want me to bring these people in just to let them know we recognize that they're in, but then put them back in the waiting room? They can then watch the meeting, but they won't participate until we bring them back in.
Okay.
Right, he can just say that in the beginning of the meeting because they can hear.
He can hear that.
Yes.
Okay, so Debbie's helping to train me on this, and Mr. Whittington can hear us right now, so I don't have to bring him in.
And when you open the meeting, Guy, you can just explain that when it gets to be their item on the agenda, that they'll be brought in as a participant.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And I just want to remind everybody that we are streaming live right now on YouTube.
Got it. Thank you. Hello, Christian. Can you hear me?
Yes, Guy, I can hear you. Can't
All
see
right.
you, but I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that says panelist 3. That's because
because
of us.
it's you.
Okay. So basically so Guy, we're currently at 5:30. I know we're still waiting for Steve Sherry. So let me know when you're ready to start the meeting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Steve will be on. He did confirm, so maybe we'll just give him a minute, unless you want me to go ahead and start, Christian, with
No, many times, Guy, I'm in a lot of other committees and commissions. We'll delay a little bit, not town council meetings, but usually the other meetings.
Yeah.
Because people don't go on them very often, you know.
right. Yeah, that's what I figured. He's probably
A minute or two.
And I want you to know, not only are you on YouTube, but we are recording at this moment, the meeting.
Thank
Here's
you.
Now Marie Euling is also just joined. She'll be able to hear us, but she won't be able to see you quite yet.
Okay. Christian, I was thinking, are we able to just do new business first since we have residents?
I've done that in other committees. That's where I'll make a motion. Well, there's just the two of us, but you know, we make a motion to move the not approval minutes, but the agenda items. We can approval of the agenda. Yes, we can shift them to the first position.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so Steve Sherry is on, so you have all of your members of the committee, or the commission, I'm sorry. So Guy, if you're ready to start, if you would read the notice about the meeting in terms of that we're doing the live webinar, and then you can get into your agenda.
Yep, great. Thank you. Sounds good.
Okay.
So the commission operates, the Historic Landmarks Commission operates under the authority granted to it by Harpers Ferry Ordinance Article 131 as set forth in the West Virginia Code, Article 8-26A-4. The qualifications of the commission members are on file with the town and are hereby made a part of the record of each and every action of the commission at today's meeting. The basis of commission administrative approval or recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals is the Harpers Ferry Historic District Standards and Guidelines. They are hereby made a part of the record of each and every action of the commission at today's meeting. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. All right, I hope you could hear me for that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then shall we say, did you want to pass a motion, Christian?
Yeah,
to-
I move that we move the new business item for item 5, both the 595 Park Row property and the 630 Fillmore Street property to the first position, and the balance will follow in the normal order.
I second the motion.
Sorry for the long motion.
No, that's great. And I think
Uh,
Steve,
All those
Aye.
in favor? We got to vote on it.
aye.
Aye.
Okay, done.
Okay, wonderful. Then at this point, do we invite, I believe it is Mr. Witten to join us?
Yes, that would be Mr. Witten and Marie.
Okay,
I think Mr. Witten is also for, is Mr. Witten for 595 Park Row, or is he for the Fillmore Street?
Park Row.
Oh, he is Park Row. Okay, so we're going to bring in Mr. Witten for Park Row. Just give me a minute, because when I bring him in, there is a lag time.
Sure.
These two are the other one. Okay. Okay, Mr. Witten, you do have your mute button on. Can you go to the microphone icon and unmute yourself?
There it is. Do you want my video on? I can start the video as well.
Sure.
Okay. Here it goes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, wonderful. Hello, Mr. Witten. This is Guy Hammer. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Great. We appreciate the application you submitted. We've had a chance to look through that, and as far as I'm concerned, and I think maybe my co-counsel members are as well, is with the design of the gable windows, this rectangular design that's been proposed, which is a deviation from the design that's there today.
Mhm.
Is so wanted to get your perspective on that design, if it's a requirement, what your flexibility is there.
Well, it's driven mostly by the homeowner's desire to add more light to the attic space. And he wants to finish that as like his home office is what he's trying to do. So we discussed, different shapes and things, and he liked the rectangle shape. And that was basically the only thing that really drove it. Was he wanted a taller window in the center, too smaller on the outside. And so what we did was we tried to follow the historic guidelines for what would be allowed. And then we went to Pella and found a product that seemed like it was, the closest that we could get to the guidelines. But that's really, I think, to the extent of it. I know that when it comes into, doing arches and things like that on windows, there's a lot greater extent. So I'd just be curious what your thoughts are on what would be more appropriate.
Well, go ahead, Christian.
I was going to share, I'm actually reading from our standards and guidelines, standards for windows. So one of the things that there's another issue we should talk about is window openings that are not original it says here, shall not be added to the principal facade of a building or where visible from a public right of way.
Okay.
And that's one thing. The one thing you're not eliminating on the third item is historic window openings shall not be eliminated from the principal facade. So you're not doing that. And we try to get them repaired rather than replaced.
Right.
Is the other. But I think the front window is really probably most concerning to us because it's the window is such a, the house doesn't have a lot of architectural points to it except for that window, that front window up in the top. That
Right.
window is
I would offer character defining.
correct.
Exactly, yeah.
That window. And so I think just to amplify what Christian was saying, my understanding of that guideline is to preserve on the front facade with emphasis, the front, these character defining elements because, and I think we have a lot of flexibility on the back. and opportunities maybe to add more light from other elevations. But the front one is really what we try to preserve, with kind of singular emphasis, I think,
Right.
in Harper's Ferry.
I mean, I think the homeowner would understand that. I mean, he was very adamant about making sure that you all approved of anything that he did. I believe he sat on some of those boards in the past as well. So he definitely is inviting your input. My question, I guess, is that the side, which I can't remember so Park Road turns off, if I can't remember what the name of that street is. It goes Washington, is that street. And so his house is on the corner of two streets. And so my question would be, when you're talking about a facade, are you only referring to Washington Street, or are you referring also to that side street?
So
Well, the principal facade is the front, right?
it's where the front door is.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because sometimes, like here in Charlestown, they will talk about a side street also being, so it's two sides. I just want to make sure we're talking.
That would be secondary, the two sides adjoining. And so there's like a little bit of concern there, but I don't recall the plan as being objectionable on the changes. And I thought the 3 windows were actually on the back, and that the proposal was 1 window on the front.
Well, yeah, so that's correct. So if you're looking at the front, which is the facade, there's a single window there. He was going to replace that round window with a larger window to add light, because that's a dormer there that could be incorporated into the room.
Right.
And then the two sides, not necessarily the back, it's the two sides, the right and left side of the facade would be 3 windows on one side, 3 windows on the other. The right side, you can see from that side street, currently has 2 windows, and he wanted to replace those. The problem is they're in really poor shape. The ones that are there, very, very bad shape. The wood's dry rotted and everything. He wanted to replace those and then put one in the center. And of course, they would be the 2/2, at least, mimic what was there. The opposite end has a single window in the center. So he was trying to balance that out. So it'd be 3 windows on one side, 3 windows on the other. The back doesn't have a dormer. It's just a roof. And he wasn't planning on building a dormer or anything like that, or letting any light in from the back.
Are they wood again? I think I've read that.
Yes, they are wood. Yeah.
Construction wood. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Pella. I can't remember which series that is. It's like the what do they call that? The tradition series or heritage series, maybe. Traditional series, and it says windows will be made of wood. Yeah.
And they'll be white, right? Is that?
Yes, that's cool. They'll be painted the trim color.
Painted the
Yeah.
trim. Yeah.
Mhm.
I just thought about light. I was just thinking about ideas, and I don't even know if this is acceptable, but could a solar tube or something like that be put on the roof to bring in some light, in that area, and preserving and rebuild that existing window? It'd be sad to see that window go.
You referring to the front window?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that Paul would be willing to forego that if we could agree to allowing the light to come in on both gables.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because
Secondary sides, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's kind of like a non-starter for any of those, windows, then it becomes an issue of, how do I get light into that space?
Well, I would ask my colleagues if they have any concerns about the secondary side. I think that seems like a reasonable accommodation to preserve the front.
I'm okay.
I agree. Yeah, and I think even if they wanted to have a larger window, but similar character defining design, then I think we'd probably be okay with that as well. I did a survey of a lot of the other gable windows on Camp Hill, and there's definitely a variety of shapes. I mean, triangles. There is one very nice or maybe 1 or 2 very nice rectangular shaped gable windows, but they must have like two sides. It's not the standard kind of double single pane glass window. I'm not sure the style exactly, but I had taken pictures of this. So if you wanted me to share some other styles that appear to be period to me,
Are we talking?
You do that?
Guy, are we talking the side of the gable? The gable, I think they're willing to just leave it.
Right.
Yeah,
And I may recommend an option to him to put some maybe skylights in the back roof. right,
Yes,
To help
Yeah.
offset, the loss
Solar
of light in the
tube,
front
yep.
or something like that.
then that's fine.
And I will say this, that Paul is not available by phone or email. We were able to reach him earlier today, but he couldn't make it. I will want to go back to him and say, hey, this is what we discussed, and make sure I get his blessing for that, whatever we talk about. So
Okay. So in that case, Christian, what do we do? It sounds like we're not taking an action then. since-
well, I think we can make a move that we recommend. And we
Yeah.
could do that. Is that okay, Steve?
well,
Do we have is this a formal application that we are asking a revision for, or was this a concept consultation? I can't remember the paperwork.
this is an application to accept this as a I don't know if you what you call it in the HLC there, but we're asking to, because we haven't submitted our building permit yet.
Okay,
Trying to do this and then go ahead and submit for our building permit. And then, so my recommendation, if we could do this, is that we would accept, me as the builder and Paul as the owner, that the sides would be allowed to be changed per the pellet product that we're talking about. They would stay. And then if there's any concern on Paul's end, he could also always come back before you with some other ideas. But I don't want to hinder it because it'll just drag on for months for him.
And what happened is this thing went out of process in our town. We should have seen it before the Board of Zoning Appeals. They wanted our take on it.
I see.
so normally there would be a final plan drawn, kind of as planned, or there's a notation on submitted plan saying that would strike the rectangular window, and it would be, to remain, as existing. I think that it needs to be memorialized on the plans. That's the one thing we usually, if we were meeting in person, that would be done on the plan as we're voting, so that
We'd even
they go
stamp it.
back to. I'm sorry.
And we'd even stamp it.
Right. So
This is Pat, and I want to speak on behalf of Kevin Hamilton, the compliance officer. Mr. Whittington did submit a zoning compliance permit application, and we have an application number, and it's on the agenda. So I think what we need to do is just revise that application, Mr. Whittington, and then go from there.
And would it need to go back before the HLC next month? Is that how you would handle that?
I think if you get the approval from Landmarks tonight and you modify the application, you could just resubmit it with the changes to the compliance officer.
Okay.
So I think we could make a motion, that we accept the changes pending and approve them pending resubmission of revised application.
Okay.
Is that agreeable
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
town? Pat?
I believe so. And that way, once we get the revision, we'll make sure that Landmarks gets a copy for your files.
Okay.
And then we
Yeah.
keep this application moving along versus waiting for another month or a special meeting to re-bless
Right.
what you're talking about. Because I think everybody's of the like mind.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have it memorialized so that Kevin knows what needs to be
Okay.
inspected.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well then I'll make a motion that, having reviewed the application and found it consistent with the standards and guidelines as discussed with the sole amendment of retaining the character defining round window in the primary facade, we approve the application as presented.
I
I'll
second.
second it.
Now, can I ask you one quick question? Mr. Whittington said he would go back to the homeowner and possibly discuss solar panels in the back. I'm not solar panels, I'm sorry,
Skylight.
skylights for the lighting. Is that something that would have to go back to
Yeah.
you guys?
If it's on the rear where we have the most latitude, and I would be willing to pre-approve that.
So can we
Where do
add
we
that
the
to
rear?
your motion?
Oh,
that
we
you-
don't know what we're looking at though, Steve. That's the only thing, it could,
Well,
It would be a deluxe window is what it would be. those bronze Velux windows. I mean,
Oh.
he's going to want to do that, but that's what I would recommend if we wanted to find a way to bring light to the center of it.
So maybe what we should do is leave that alone, recommend it to the homeowner, and if he chooses to do that, he'll just have to resubmit that and we can then put that through. Because by the time you got to that part in the project, there might be another landmarks meeting anyway.
Right.
We wouldn't be holding up your project.
Correct.
Okay, that seems fair.
Any further discussion? No? Hey, Guy, you could call the vote, I guess.
Okay, shall we vote?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. No, motion passes.
Well, thank you.
Then I think
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Whittington, I can either put you back in the waiting room and you can listen to the rest of the meeting, or you can just simply disconnect yourself. It's up to
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I will. I actually have to go to another meeting, but thank you
Save your
very
torture.
much.
Thank you.
You'll have a wonderful evening.
You
great,
too.
thank you.
Okay, and if you would like now, I will bring in, let's see, we've got, I'm bringing in Jeffrey. I think I am. And Marie, here's Kevin Hamilton. Okay, Jeffrey is on. I don't know if Marie Euling is going to be joining. She was in the waiting room. Let's see. Might have them twice. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, sorry,
You're in-
just not getting here.
That's okay. What the landmarks did is they went ahead and they moved the two applications up on the agenda so that everyone didn't have to stay on. And now we are going to talk about 630 Fillmore Street.
Okay,
So Jeff, if you could unmute yourself. And I don't know if you're on twice or if Maria is on one of the other ones. They both have your name.
There we go. Can you
Start
hear?
video. Start video.
Okay.
See if we come up.
Hey, can you hear us now?
Yes.
There we are.
So we're here together. That's why.
We also have another one of you, but we're just going to leave this alone. So
Yeah,
I'm
let's
gonna give
leave
it back
the
to
other
Guy.
Yep.
Okay, Guy,
Wonderful.
sorry.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, Jeffrey and Marie. Great to meet you. Thanks for joining this call. And I think maybe I've mentioned in the email or to you, Jeffrey, in person that we had a note of concern registered with the commission about the work that has been done on your front porch. In particular, the use of the PVC materials for the decking and the pillars and the other the features around that front porch. Now, I believe I want to check with my colleagues here about the ordinance and whether that material PVC is by the ordinance. Is it ever permitted? Because one of the things I chatted with Jeff about just this week, maybe 2 days ago, was the possibility of painting the PVC materials to make it look, maybe less uniform, right?
Right.
So I wanted to see what input maybe, well, in fact, maybe first, Jeffrey or Marie, if you want to kind of give your perspective on how you feel about the work that you've done here.
Okay, I'll start. As some of you know, I've been in town for almost 30 years, and I've been through these kinds of processes many times. This home is owned by me, and I was delighted to have my sister and brother-in-law move in last year. I did not follow the process closely. However, because of some health issues I've been dealing with over the last few months, but my understanding and their understanding from reading the documents is that the porch, which absolutely needed to be replaced and was failing, as Jeff described in much more detail. it could be replaced, so like for like in terms of looking pretty much exactly like the old porch, which it does. And the gingerbread was preserved. There's still a few pieces that need to be attached. But otherwise, the size and the pillars and the gingerbread and the roof are exactly as they were before, except that some of the wood pieces were replaced with PVC. The deck was already Trex. There's already obviously vinyl siding on the house, and some of the pieces of the porch were vinyl. So, I mean, it's already basically half non-wood. And they went forward with the understanding that that they would keep the historic appearance of the porch as they did a beautiful job of doing. And my apologies for not understanding that we needed to go through this process.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Steve or Christian, would one of you like to?
Well,
go?
I'm going to read what it says in the ordinance standards. This is not me making this up. So it says porches that are intact and totally or partially original must be repaired as needed, adhering to the original design features in scale and placement, and using original materials, methods of construction, and details whenever possible to match the original. It says that the original is unknown, but you do know what the original is. Using appropriate material and detailing. The two things that popped out of me differently than the material is more the railing is so much higher than the original. And also it's missing some of the corbels.
Yeah, we still have the corbels.
Okay.
We still have the corbels.
That's what we were saying, still need to be
We just stopped.
reattached.
Okay.
We just
But
stopped.
the height, when you look at the height of other historic porches, you'll see that they're like at windowsill levels
Okay.
usually. This one's at least 6 to 8 inches taller.
Okay.
And I went to Charlestown and looked at other homes that have them higher and lower. And when you see them side by side, you can see the difference between a historic home restored and one that's got modern height.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, is that your biggest concern? Is the height of the?
To me, it looked new. I mean, it looks like it was replaced with something from Home Depot and just put on there. That's me. I don't know what my other compadres think, but.
Right. Well, it's not Home Depot.
Okay.
And it was great expense. We actually went over and above to try to keep the style and everything else.
Yeah.
I think
consistent with the
I think
neighborhood.
the height of the railing is probably a safety issue. That railings are made at that height at this
They're
point,
35.
unless
But
you
I
specifically request a shorter.
Yeah, which would and again, if that's the biggest stumbling block, then we can lower the rails. That certainly can be done.
So we're just in discussion. So.
Oh, I see.
We're not the law here. So we got more people here to talk.
Well, I'm just trying to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, I know you are.
Right.
And we're gonna be reasonable. Go ahead, Steve and Guy. What's your take?
Steve, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I think I agree with Christian. We want to be reasonable. We want to preserve we said this in the last applicant, I'll say here, the character defining elements of the porch and the style height being one of them. I'm appreciative of the fact that so much of the structure is no longer original materials. And and if the decking was already Trex, or I think I heard you say, not wood,
Right.
It's a hybrid. I think it's a little more in a gray zone than strictly replacing original with original, because it's kind of a blend now. So I applaud your commitment to preserving the design in the corbels and, the detailing and the gingerbread and the turning and everything on the porch, so that if it were painted to look like paint on wood, it could pass. I could see being accommodative at this point. This is one of those cases, I think, that's in the gray area for me between a real preservation commitment and serviceable facsimile. So I'll stop there and maybe hear what Guy's thoughts are on this.
Sure. Yeah, actually, the thing that I notice is the PVC material. I can tell just the uniformity, the sheen, and that's the first thing that struck me. Actually, I missed the railing height. That didn't really set off any flags in my mind. So I guess good catch, Christian, if that caught your attention.
Well, it compared to the old, it was definitely taller with the new one.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that, and I didn't realize even that there was a historical aspect to that railing heights. But for me, it would be more about doing the sanding of the surface and painting so that it reduce some of that PVC look. I think would be my top concern.
So Jeff, you think that's possible on the vinyl?
That's a very reasonable.
To,
that's a reasonable request.
Yeah, I think you have to put a special primer on it.
Yeah, or I could treat it and dull the surface. Make it give it a tooth, right, and then just hit it with paint. Yeah.
And
is there any way to lower that?
Well, I'm gonna look at it. Okay. And open up some of the fasteners and see what's involved, because those are all individual posts. Oh, and I don't see any reason why they can't be cut to a height, but I'm gonna have to get in there and really look.
Yeah, I was looking at the picture real close, and I saw if you could take a few inches off the top and a few inches in the bottom. What do they call balusters or posts?
I don't know.
Whatever those vertical things.
Yeah,
made them a little shorter. They'll look pretty similar. Your old ones look great. These look okay, but not.
Well, and by the way, I did do a little Googling on this. Apparently, paint on PVC lasts something like 3 times as long as paint on wood. Which
I like that.
Well, I also think that speaks to the larger concern in our town is, being cost effective in preserving the historic nature, because it doesn't benefit the town if homes become increasing more expensive to replace, and we start to see them just decay in place rather than having people do the repairs. So
Indeed.
I definitely understand the motive to use PVC, and I think it can be done here in a way that would be very difficult for people to identify when it's painted.
Christian, is there, just so I'm kind of comfortable, since you've got the standards out, is there a provision about modified structures that allow this kind of accommodation? Are we straying from the guidance too far? Is there a reading that aligns with our interpretation?
I think we're okay. It says porches, including porches, new construction style, employee design. It's compatible with the architectural style and period of the particular building. Now, being this is the primary facade, that front porch railing is actually really important to that house. I mean, it's it's beautiful. The other one was beautiful. So the big thing about screening, don't screen it.
I'm not screening. Okay. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's pretty much what all it says. As long as it's not, it doesn't say what materials. Right. It doesn't say anything about materials, but we want it to look original. That's right. But But I
That's
I
what was
really,
important to me were the aesthetics.
Mhm.
the
That it-
aesthetics are really critical.
Yeah, and yeah,
Because that's why people come to Harper's Ferry. They
Sure.
come to look
I
at
get
these
it.
houses, and that's why the railing height to me is important.
okay.
It's too tall. I mean, I know what you mean about code. I understand that, but I don't know. And what are you gonna do below the porch? What's
Oh,
the-
well, it was originally lattice.
Okay,
So that's what it'll be back there. Again, I just stopped, you know,
Yeah.
initially, Kevin Hamilton contacted me.
right.
And I worked with him. And
Right.
once he contacted me, everything stopped.
Yeah.
And
But
we just tried to go through this
Right,
process.
but the lattice will be put on just as
Right.
it was
Mhm.
previously.
Okay.
Any other
Somebody want to make a
questions?
motion? You want me to make a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just,
Go
I guess,
ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
just sorry, looking at the design, I think that the adjustment on the handrails will also probably have to carry forward to the handrails coming down the front steps, or they're going to be much taller.
Right.
So that'll kind of carry out all the way to the newel posts at the end. I'm just looking at the picture because it's
Yes.
all
Mhm.
aligned, and you had it looks like steel handrails on the steps before. And I'm fine with the change.
Oh,
but-
those were clearly not original. I mean,
Yeah.
those were Home
Yeah.
Depot.
Yeah, that's
Um,
1950s or
yeah.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really terrible.
Yeah, the
actually.
twisted iron.
Oh, we're
that's
not asking
that's
for it on that. We don't
1950s
want
and
'em.
60s.
You don't want that again.
No, you don't want that.
No. I'm just saying that the line, that vertical
No, I agree with you. I
horizontal
agree
alignment
with
would carry from the front porch down the rail. So
Sure.
whatever the elevation is, would be
you. Understood.
that would complete the look.
All right. Fair enough. And yeah, I'm looking at the picture, the original, and it still is above the windowsill, but not by much. Not what
you
it
could get
is
as
now.
close to
I'd
where
say
it
that
was.
gap was about half of what
Right.
it is now.
But if you took a little bit out of each on the
Mhm.
top and a little bit out of the bottom, an inch
Mhm.
or two, I think it,
I think it'd be fine.
yeah.
Okay. That's reasonable. Mhm.
Okay.
What's our next step?
Should we do a motion and, or Kevin's here?
His window's there. I don't know if he's there.
I don't know.
I'm here. Sorry.
There he is.
I'm having trouble with my video, but I can hear.
You can hear?
Yeah.
So what we were thinking is, he was going to paint the entire thing, put the corbels in. He was going to put lattice in the bottom. He's going to lower the railings to get closer to where it was before.
Okay. What material was you going to use for the lattice?
Haven't decided. You tell me so I don't have to do this again.
I would prefer a natural material over PVC for the
Gotcha.
ladder.
All right.
On lattice, because it looks like PVC.
Right. Okay.
Agreed.
So
Fine.
wood with
And
painted
that's what we're
wood,
doing.
stained wood.
Right. I think they were originally painted,
They were painted white or gray.
so we can just put painted lattice there.
Yeah.
I agree with cutting down the railing to get something close to the original height.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would bring back most of the look before.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So Kevin, I think the question is process here now. I don't know if this needs a motion because we don't have an application, do we, to move on, or is this just a recommendation to you, or just a report of agreement?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the action is.
Well, you have the application there. I just need something before I can approve the application. I need y'all's blessing on this, or whatever you want to call it, to approve what has been done.
Then we need a motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christian, do you?
Yeah, I'll
you
do it.
Listed the list before.
I move that Historic Landmarks Commission recommends that the owner paint the entire porch, other than the flooring. Use wood for lattice on the under the porch. Lower the
Rail.
height to where it was before originally, including the stair rails.
Right.
And replace the corbels.
Something.
The corbels.
And the
Replace
corbels, and
put
install the
corbels
corbels
back
like
in.
it was before.
Right. Done.
Done. That's the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Any more? Okay, Guy, you can call the vote.
Okay, all those who vote in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. You might need to get that Guy over to Kevin so he can put it in the motion.
Yeah, I'll add that to the application.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
Yes.
ahead. Okay.
I'll do that as soon as we finish.
All righty.
All
Okay.
righty.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Jeffrey and Maria.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
And actually, do we need to do the same thing for, no, I guess not. It's on Mr. Witten to make those edits. Do I need to put anything in writing in an email to somebody to confirm that? Or just put it in the minutes?
We could send something over to BZA just to let them, because that's where their application came from,
Right.
just to alert them to what
Yeah.
we have done.
Yeah. Okay. Done. That's easy. Okay.
And that go to David to Simmons. Just send it to David Simmons.
Okay.
He's the chair. And maybe CC, Kevin Hamilton.
Okay. Great.
Ooh.
Then shall we go back to the beginning?
Yes, the beginning.
All right. Approval of agenda and announcements. I think, do we have to have a vote to say that we're approved? Do we need to do that?
Oh.
No, right? Reading approval of minutes. I don't have that. I need to, I think
Oh, we can't do that now, Guy. That has to be
Special
done at a
meeting.
regular meeting. So
Yeah.
next month.
right. And then the comments on agenda items are,
None.
I don't think
None.
there are any, right? Okay. And then old business candidates. Do we have any new ones?
No.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'm
as well.
trying, but
I do have somebody for the Danvers archives. Just
Well,
trying to get.
save
just
it for
trying to
that one.
Yeah, because that is still at the town hall, right?
Yes, I saw it. I kind of looked at a little bit of it, and it's definitely very good information that needs to be preserved.
Okay.
I can tell, we're on item 2, so we might as well talk about it. Budget and Finance has increased our budget for this item,
Oh,
for historic landmarks to do a proper archival. So we have funds set aside. I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but it's not $50. It's up there.
okay.
It's,
Well-
I think 1,000 or 2 sticks in my mind. So
Got it.
I'm just saying there's some serious, we feel, and it came from Jay Premack's recommendation that we need to put this in proper, to store it properly and then to index it and all that,
Would there be any funding in that to create a digital archive of it too? That could be public?
Yeah. I think it's a $2,000 if I remember correctly, and I think it just got approved, but I'll verify that later. I don't know what that cost. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. And it sounds like that may be the type of thing that we need to get bids for.
Yeah, when your volunteer person looks at it, but there's some very important information in there. Lots of maps and
Yeah.
I mean, good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's, this person that I'm talking to is former museum specialist for the park. And yeah,
Great.
She could definitely tell us, appraise the historic value and, if the park would be interested in it, for
It's
example.
all paper. It's mostly paper. From what I've seen in one thing,
I would be agreeable to sharing digital copies with the park, but I don't think we want to cede any of our artifacts to them if we can curate and store, because we'll never see it again once it passes into the building. There's also urban archaeology or urban, architecture and historic preservation programs at like Morgantown and West Virginia State University that might have graduate interns that would be interested in doing some of this conservation curation work as a graduate project or a senior thesis kind of capstone project. We could try reaching out. I'd have to go back and look through the notes. Whoever did our last historic town inventory, Rothenberger or something was her name. I can't remember. We had a contract with her, but she brought out students. And so I'm just wondering, when you talk to the park conservationist guy that she might also know of some of these programs, academic programs.
Sure.
Possibly Shepherd has a program like this. I don't think so, but they might.
Yeah.
Where we could try to see if there's any kind of student, basically somebody could do like a thesis on this, or some paper or some graduate work. And what we get back is the kind of the net result, the digital artifacts. I'm just thinking, instead of spending thousands of dollars to have a contractor do it, that might be the right thing to do, but we might get more interpretation out of a student.
Yeah. Well, here's my thought. I mean, does the town actually, I'm not sure if we do or not, does the town actually have its own historical collection?
I think that's it.
I'm not.
I can answer that question for you. There's an office up here. It says the office of the recorder, but there are filing cabinets in here. There's one or two dedicated just to landmarks, and there's a wonderful historic, there's a documentation, there's folders documenting every house in town.
That's our historic inventory.
Yes, and it's great information. So Landmarks does have space, and if we need another filing cabinet, we can get another filing cabinet to accommodate it. Some of the things that are here are very large photographs. There were several movies that were filmed downtown. So there's a lot of photographs from those movies as well. And I'm not sure, they're so large, what type of you'd almost would need a cabinet with drawers in it to lay them flat. But
Right.
You can come up and look at all of this stuff and see how we can accommodate it.
Okay. Oh, that sounds great.
And it doesn't appear to be organized, so.
That is correct, because I've
It's not
gone through it all.
organized.
There's also 2 boxes of postcards, wonderful collection of Harpers Ferry postcards.
Yeah, they have value.
Were these collections, when they set up, were they set up with long-term preservation in mind? And one of the first things I know just from my own museum volunteering is if there are historic documents held in like manila envelopes or containers that are not acid-free, that basically these documents will degrade rapidly over time.
Yeah, a lot of it is, it's a lot of papers, but Dan was just a collector of Harpers Ferry, and he was kind of the unofficial historian, so to speak, because he spent so much time here. He worked for the Park Service, and he had been on town council and in many other commissions and committees for decades. So he was just a walking wealth of information.
Yeah.
And his brother brought all of the information from Dan's collection of Harper's Ferry memorabilia to the town hall for us to go through.
Okay, then that would be my recommendation. If the town is committed to preserving this archive, then yeah, I have a volunteer I could bring in to do this type of assessment. And if the town is committed, then we should just assess the materials that are holding the historic documents and get some recommendations on whether they're the right materials for the right way to preserve these artifacts. Right?
But I think the big thing is what Steve said, is having this available to people electronically. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Well, you mean, but then the question is, you mean digitize everything or do an analysis?
No, not everything, but what's important,
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking if we could find a student or a graduate student or an intern, or we hire someone to actually do that assessment, that would be trying to sort out what's valuable or how to organize it thematically into some collections. Maybe we also have our historic nomination, which is the narrative framework for all of our historic properties in town. It has 5 themes, different periods in history, and maybe these artifacts could be aligned to that, so that we actually have ephemera, memorabilia, actual artifacts that kind of accompany the historic narrative of our major nomination, and the houses, which are the other thing that we're curating. So this is, that might be a logical organizing framework.
I like that. I like that narrative. Yeah, good idea.
Which we should have online, I think, is the historic nomination. It should be on our part of the town website. If not, it's in that same office in those file cabinets Patty was talking about.
Yeah.
Somewhere there is, it's kind of a 30-page typed document. The original version Linda Rago typed in the 80s, and then it was redone. Well, we couldn't change it, but it was kind of reconsidered in the early 2000s when we redid the historic nomination update. And I think it's online, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that. So do we have an action? Like if I wanted to get my volunteer person to come in and look, do we need to pass a motion to do that, or just do I?
We don't. Well, we actually didn't set it up for it. We just had a review. We'd have to have an action, so we can't really do that right now.
Okay.
Per Robert's rules.
Okay. So I'll add an action to our next agenda.
Yeah. When you get a little more, we were just kind of exploring right now. You'll in the next few weeks, we'll probably know more before our next meeting. What's a good direction for a proper motion?
Yeah.
We can certainly gather information now. We don't need an action
sure.
to gather information.
Yep.
There's a lot of duplicate stuff in those boxes, so don't think there's that much stuff, but it needs to be looked at properly.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the last question on that, is it possible, do you think that some of these materials in the archive would be better suited for the park as opposed to the town?
It looked, honestly, from what I looked at, a lot of maps and stuff, it looks like it'd be more, I think they know this stuff, that stuff. There was an excellent map of the Store College before it got turned over in 1958. That's a fascinating map. And I'm sure they got it because it was done for them. So.
Okay.
And don't forget, Dan did work for the Park Service.
Yeah.
That's true.
So one area where I'm thinking that we could encourage the public or other people, groups here in town to use these artifacts if they were digitized is in things like walking tours. Holly Davies did the Upper Town walking tour when I started on the commission back in 2001, 2002. We haven't done another one since then. But as you're talking, Christian, about like the Store College map, you can imagine maybe, like a Black Lives Matter kind of tribute, walking tour around civil rights and having these artifacts with the narrative and what's there now and the structures and kind of, there could be
Well,
images to accompany the story.
The Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Association has put together a walking tour of Harpers Ferry for Black history.
There you go.
It's about to be published. They're about to put it online as well as a printed map to walk the town. They're in the process of working on the Bolivar version as well for Black history, because that's one of the things that Park Service is really behind on, is on Black history, and we want to do our part.
Yep.
To enhance that knowledge.
Awesome. So, I mean, I'm just thinking as we inventory these things, they could become part of the visual eye
Yes.
candy as well as meaningful narrative that
Yeah.
kind of makes these tours come to life,
Yes.
So, there's always a chance to do.
But that tour is about to start. When's it going to break? It's already online.
Very good.
Cool. I'll check that out. Okay, shall we move on to the Boundary Street stone marker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let me talk to the part I did. I met
Yeah.
with David. Great guy. He was a park ranger for 7 years. I didn't know that. But he's the man who originally started the modern markers we see today, the ones with the narration on them, the color
Yeah.
things. He was the first guy to do that.
Okay.
And
No, I mean, this is the same guy who was on one of our calls.
yeah, he was the
Okay.
guy who was in the women's club. He stays there during the day. That's his office underneath.
Okay.
Nice office. I met with him and Barbara Hume.
Yeah.
And he showed me a product that he's working on for, I believe, Louisiana, New Orleans.
Right.
Beautiful. They're 2x4, so they have to be created. But he envisions, like, if we did this, it would be in the little park across from Bolivar,
Right.
and it would be like, it would have its own little path, like a little brick thing, a walkway to view it. So it's a really neat thing. It really would impart a lot of information versus just a marker. And it would be on the side where most people actually walk.
Yeah. I think
So-
the only question we had last time was, did he submit or resubmit a bid for doing this work?
Well, he gave us a verbal. I did talk to him about that. It is $5,000 for to create this diorama. I don't know what you call this
Well,
display. And then we have to install it, and he estimates that might be, $1,000. But he would supervise the entire process to make sure it's done right, because he lives here. And so it would probably end up totally costing us around $6,000.
yeah, got it. Yeah, that's I think that's in line with some of the estimates that I had gotten for the stone markers.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, I guess the question is this work that he does, is it so unique that it's okay for us to take apple and orange bids, like a stone marker versus a steel interpretive sign? Is that okay with the town?
Oh,
to make a
I see. Now we're talking the town. Okay. Because I'm on budget and finance.
Oh,
This is again one of these unique products, and there's so much creative done in it. I mean, I guess I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be always the lowest bid when they do these things, Guy. It has the one who fits the parameters of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. Well, then, so it sounds maybe for our next meeting then is is to have I mean, does that make sense, or is it already too late for this budget cycle to?
No. Well, let me explain. So it all depends what we do in the next item.
Okay,
Budget wise, we have money set aside for both. I made sure, but I have way more money for the chimney or the fireplace versus the sign or the
Okay.
mark. But in total, I think we can do pretty much the whole thing, both of them.
got it.
If we decide to do the one with the 4x6 Park Service type sign, and if we do the item 4, the one that's the simplest repair,
Right.
we would be in the ballpark of the budget that we more or less approved.
Well, then should we go ahead and talk about that then? The chimney?
Yeah, well, let me get Steve on this. Hey, Steve, he's around, the David guy. We could probably contact if you want to see what he does. It is truly amazing, these signs he makes. He'll make anything we want. If we want a map in it, we want pictures. So we're going to have to do a lot of work ourselves to gather what we want. And this is a creative process. This isn't just like chipping out on some piece of marble a name or something. This is
I think what Christian is trying to, if you don't mind me just adding my 2 cents with David Guiney, what he does is he creates like what you commonly see called wayside markers.
Yep.
So
Right.
if you look at the one at the gazebo, that's a wayside marker. And that has a little tiny map in it, it has pictures in it, and has history of the gazebo. And I think that's what Christian is saying that David Guiney would do for this spot, is a little history of why this is important. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
He'll pull in. He doesn't just do it. We are part of the process.
Got it.
We're going to help. We are going to have to search to help make this thing so, engrossing and interesting. We got to find pictures and maps. And he found the one up by the cannon on the Oddfellow.
Yeah.
That one there, he found a photograph of the cannon where it is today. And there's a Civil War guy in this picture
Yeah.
with the building in the background. I mean, it blew my mind. He said that was such a perfect picture.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
No,
we have
I know the park has a lot of content about the conflict between, or just the cultural differences between Harper's Ferry and Bolivar and the significance there.
Yeah.
So there's certainly, I think, a collection that's devoted to that topic in the park archive.
right.
So
Well, he showed me other projects he's done in the past. He's truly, I'm leaning towards him, but I mean, he knows what he loves Harper's Ferry. He used to be a resident of Harper's Ferry on Ridge Street. He was a ranger here, a park ranger.
Yeah.
He knows Harper's Ferry.
Nope. Sounds good. So do
Yeah.
we need is there a motion here, or what do we
Well,
want?
we can't do a motion on this one. We could do it on the number 4.
Right. So should we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think you're the one who had the low bid, and did you have some addition? Did you get?
Well, let me explain here how it should work. Usually the way we try to do things in the town councils, we like to have some choices. You don't
Right.
always have to pick the one. So I was envisioning having 3 choices. One is a new fireplace. You have the bid, new fireplace. The second one is a restored fireplace using the existing stones. The low bid gentleman is going to just repair it. He thinks it's in poor condition. He thinks an amateur built it. A stonemason did not build that. But he can repair it so it's safe. And he can he says we can purchase some sort of a grill to put in each end to suffice to some sort of a grilling, function.
Got it.
But
Okay.
that is the minimum, but it would make it safe, and it would still have the look. And I think that meets the requirements, but we can let the town council make that
Yeah.
choice.
Well,
But
because
if we would need the money, if we do the low on the chimney and put more in the, then we should have enough money to do both.
Yeah, and I've got the bids. I have bids for rebuilds, new. I have a rebuild bid as well. Yeah, the one bid I don't have that I believe you have is that.
It's a verbal. I gave you an email. It's a verbal.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, it's the best I'm going to get out of this gentleman.
are you really? So
Yes.
he's not willing to put it in writing?
He said, "Here's my bid," over the phone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's,
It's funny. He's not the only one who's like that.
I don't know him, but I heard he's restored close to 20 houses in Harpers Ferry.
Wow.
I was very impressed. He's worked in a lot of the older houses. So
So how does payment work with a guy like that? You write it, is he willing to sign a contract? So we have to lay out, here's what we're expecting, and
Yeah.
he signs it and we give him half and then half when it's done?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So so who writes that up?
One of us has to kind of put it together in a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would do it in those 3 categories: list the name of the person, contact information, what they intend to do. But one is new, one is restored, and the other one is repaired.
Okay. Because like I said, I've got
And the
first
number, the
two.
dollar amounts. He
Yeah,
was like,
what's-
well, I don't want to throw dollars in we're in the public media here, so I don't want to.
So you'll get with me offline. Let me know what that number is, and then because I've got I started.
Well,
the
you got
spreadsheet.
an email from me because I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. Then my fault. All right. Then if I've got that, then I'll just put it in the spreadsheet. And what do we do?
I would suggest the motion would be historic landmarks. I move that historic landmarks submit the 3 bids to the town council.
Yeah.
And let them pick. But don't second it yet. Don't second it.
Okay.
Or we're in trouble. Do you guys want to make a recommendation to the council?
Yes, I think we should give them the 3 bids and the
Well,
3
give them the
different
3, but I
kinds
meant the one that we prefer.
of, yeah, and it could even be accompanied with, say, if we go with this recommendation or this choice, that releases resources to
To other stuff,
do the step, plus up on the wayside marker.
right? Well, we don't have to tell them that yet, but they like cheaper. I know that.
Don't say cheaper, say less expensive.
Okay, less expensive.
Okay.
Or we could just leave it up to them.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm thinking. It doesn't sound like we need to make a recommendation. We just give them the offers, right? And they're going to choose the least expensive one.
And I don't want to bring this up, but whoever gets chosen is going to have to get a Harpers Ferry business license. And I know these types of workers sometimes they want to avoid that,
I'll make sure.
but we have to get that process
I
through.
will get it.
Okay, and work with me because depending on when this work will begin, just remember all licenses are issued July 1st. So I don't want to give them a license for May or June and they got to turn around and do it again. So
Right.
maybe your work wouldn't start till after July 1.
It's correct, because we're in the 2022 budget year, which starts in
Perfect.
July. So we'll,
Okay.
if whoever this is, and I did tell the gentleman, I don't have it in front of me, but I told him it'd be in July and later. He was good with that.
Sorry to keep cutting in.
Okay. So my motion, I did make so is my motion probably can stand. We'll just submit it, the 3 options to the town council. Let them choose.
All in favor?
Well, somebody's got to second it.
Oh,
I'll second.
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Unanimous. Motion
Wow.
carried.
all right.
It's just a spreadsheet, just a one page. Don't make it too complicated. simple. And I can talk it through
Sure.
in the council.
Nope. Fair enough. We'll be, I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Oh, well, don't, no hurry. No. Our next council meeting isn't until the second Monday of May.
Okay.
So, but if I can have it by the week of the 3rd, that'll give me time.
Okay.
Because I
Well-
gotta have 5 days. Yeah, if I can get it by the 3rd, May 3rd.
All right.
Kristen, you have to get that in by noon on the 3rd. So if you get it
Oh.
before that, you'll have time to work
Well,
on it.
maybe let's move this up a little. Give me some more
Sorry.
time. Give me April 30th, what's the last day? 30th.
Okay.
If I can have by April 30th or earlier.
All right. And I think that's it for now, except the bank account, Christian, which I'll go and sign whatever needs to be signed. tomorrow.
I'll go there tomorrow. Scott sent me information about that. So I told him I'll come in tomorrow and sign.
Other than that, is there anything else, gentlemen?
No. But by the way, those two new business items that we did, they got out of process. They should have been to us much earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else from me.
Okay.
Nothing from me either.
Then with that, motion to adjourn.
I second it. All those in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good
All right.
meeting.
All right.
Wonderful. Very productive. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. I'm going
All
to
right.
now disconnect.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.